We've been talking a lot about ICE deportations lately, but how does the process work once somebody is in custody? Before the U.S. flies hundreds of thousands of detainees out of the country, it flies many of them to other states.
Now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement says the cross-country flights are done, at least in part, to open up bed space. But a multi-state TEGNA investigation has found the movements often defy common sense. Here's investigative reporter Chris Vanderveen with an example.
Across the U.S., the shuffles happen constantly and sometimes inexplicably. Cuban man arrested in South Florida, June 2025. Miami, Denver, Florence, Denver, Florence, Denver, Florence, Denver, Florence. Venezuelan man arrested in Tampa, December 2025. Miami, El Paso, Mesa, Denver, Mesa. Again, ICE won't comment on its routes, on its movements, citing operational security.
This is all part of a new documentary that's streaming right now on our free WUSA 9 app. And we are joined now by one of the producers of the project, Chris Vanderveen, who works with our sister station, KUSA TV in Denver. Chris, it sounds like you intentionally did not want this to be about deportations.
Good morning, Simone. We did not. There's been a lot of discussion, and people have already, in many ways, come to their own conclusions about what's taking place in the country right now, whether it's good or bad. This is not an investigation of that. This is an investigation of what some people call these shuffle flights that go from one state to another, sometimes bring one detainee from one state to another state to another state to another state. And the question really has been since the beginning of this project is why? There's a lot of critics of this system, and a lot of federal judges are also going increasingly concerned with what's going on around the country.
All right, so you asked the question right there. Why are they doing this? Why is ICE doing it this way?
Well, ICE will tell you, as you said at the beginning, because of bed space and because of other operational issues. It doesn't advertise these flights. A lot of these flights you can't see on sort of traditional flight tracking websites. They go to great lengths to make sure that there aren't on those websites. But there's a growing, increasing now amount of critics who say that ICE is doing this to keep people away from their families, away from lawyers. And that, imagine this idea of, somebody in Florida, we've seen example after example of this, somebody in Florida, there's a lot of Cubans in South Florida, for some reason they come to Colorado. We don't know why. ICE will say, again, for a bed space issue, but it doesn't appear to be that simple. In many ways, and their lawyers are putting this in court filings, they're saying they're doing this intentionally to keep people away from legal representation. And again, like I said before, a number of federal judges are buying it, and they're ordering now ICE to return people back to their original home state.
Let's talk about how much this is costing taxpayers in terms of following the money.
It's a lot of money involved here. When you talk about one flight, a few years ago, the head of ICE estimated, this was before this is the previous administration, the head of ICE estimated that an hour of flight time would cost roughly $17,000. We tracked one plane on one day, went 7 hours. This was a cost of well over $100,000. Again, these aren't flights that are leaving the country. They're going from state to state, so $17,000 per hour. In addition, there's a broker, there's a company that works with all of the other subcontractors. These planes don't fly under the ICE Air banner. They fly under a number of private companies that are doing subcontracting work for the U.S. government. And that one Texas-based company that's acting as a broker, when all is said and done, by October of next year will have been paid roughly $1.5 billion by the federal government to coordinate this. So a lot of money involved here.
All right, before we let you go, how many stations helped with this project?
Including ours and including yours. Thank you so much to Eric Flack at WUSA for helping us with this investigation. We're talking about 16 TEGNA stations across the country. This was an effort that would not have been possible had we not been able to sort of utilize the strength of the company that owns us and sort of putting that muscle to work.
Look, as you mentioned, a lot of work that you've put in here. We're looking forward to seeing really what you've uncovered. Chris Vanderveen with our sister station, KUSA TV. Thank you so much for the conversation and for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right. You can watch ICE Air Inside America's Secret Deportation Network, streaming free exclusively on the WUSA 9 app for your TV and your phone.